Dollar Vigilante, helping you to survive and prosper during and after the dollar collapse. And I've got a great guest coming on. He's actually a person I've worked with for a number of years. I originally had him on Anarcast on May 5th, 2014, talking about, his name is Rafael LaVerde, and talking about Bitcoin is bigger than the internet. Back in 2014, that's when Bitcoin was around $300 or $400. And I actually met him before that. We actually knew each other well before that. We were both into crypto well before that. We actually met for the first time physically at the 2013 North American Bitcoin Conference in Miami. We have some interesting stories about that event. Bitcoin was trading around $100 at that time, and we even knew each other before that. We had been in contact via the internet and things like that. And in fact, back in 2013, 2014, we were talking about starting up the Crypto Vigilante, which actually the name of it at the time was the Bitcoin Vigilante, because there really wasn't many other cryptos around. But we never got around to doing it. I'm not even sure why. I don't even fully remember all the reasons we didn't do it. But we decided we've been working together on the Dollar Vigilante for a number of years. He's actually our main our main crypto person at the Dollar Vigilante. And we've been planning and working on for the last year or so, launching the Crypto Vigilante, which just launched on May 13th. You can actually register it for it still. It's going to be limited though, and the very last date, if we even go that long, will be May 27th. So if you want to register for it, you should register right away. We'll have the links to that down below, or you can just go to, I believe it's dollarvigilante.com/launch. You can go there if you want to register. And like I said, it's going to be limited. We might cut it off at any minute because we want to keep it not too big, but we are opening it up to the public now. This is the first time we've opened it up to the public. It's just going to be for a few days here, and then we're going to shut it off, and you won't get access to it. No, you won't be able to register for it for at least weeks, probably months, and who knows, maybe even years. But it all depends on how well the crypto market goes, because we don't want to have too many subscribers with the kind of cryptos that we're looking at. They're fairly small. So if we have too many people all trying to buy it, it'll really just be crazy, and it really wouldn't work for anybody. So we're trying to keep it fairly small. So Rafael, it's great to talk to you. Thanks for coming back on. It's kind of funny looking back at our video back then in 2014. We both looked like skinny little kids. Neither of us had beards. And of course, we've gone through, just looking back at all we've gone through in the crypto market since we first met in 2013 when Bitcoin was around 100. And I think you were even mentioning when we met, that was such an interesting conference at the North American Bitcoin Conference. I believe, I think Vitalik Buterin was just launching Ethereum at that conference. Do you remember some of that?
Yeah, they were announcing it. They were launching it. A lot of people were skeptical because their promise was huge. And yeah, that was a really interesting conference. I remember Dan Larimer gathered a bunch of people around him, kind of outside where the booths were, and all these people were around Dan, and he was talking about BitShares, and he was explaining how that system worked. It was a very beautiful event. We also had Jason King run all the way from Miami, Florida, all the way to San Francisco for charity.
Yeah, with the Bitcoin bus, which he's actually just doing right now. Again, he just started a few weeks ago. I don't know if you're aware of that, but yeah.
I'm aware of that. That's awesome.
Yeah, so he's just redoing it again. And yeah, those were such interesting times to go back. I wish, obviously, we had bought a lot more Bitcoin and Ethereum and all that kind of stuff back then. But we were into this stuff well before. Even when I interviewed you in 2014, you were already, like one of the major venture capitalist people investing in the cryptocurrency space. So really excited to finally be, after 6 years of planning, basically 6 years of thinking about it, we're finally launching the Crypto Vigilante. And, I want to go in this video, I want to go over, the past a little bit, where we've come from, what's happened. We had that big bull market last year. We had a huge bear market in the last year and a half. And now it looks like we're having a bounce. So I want to get into all that and then get into like where we're going and where you see things headed. But for you as someone who's, well, let me ask you this. When was the first time you even heard about Bitcoin?
This was at in 2012. We were studying Austrian economics at the University of Texas at the Mises Institute. Jeffrey Tucker would come by once in a while. It was a really good group of people that now are all very important people in Bitcoin. And we discovered it through studying Austrian monetary theory. And Actually, we were led to this group. Actually, Ross Ulbricht told Daniel Krawitz about Bitcoin at a party the first time they met. And then Daniel told us at the reading group, and we were like, what is this Bitcoin thing? And next thing you know, we came back the next week and we were all just blown away, and we were like, wow, this is incredible. And then we started reaching out, and we met Peter Serta, who was working on a dissertation. This was before Walter Block wrote his treatise on the regression theorem of value and how Bitcoin is in line with it and does not contradict the regression theory of value. And then we had Jeffrey Tucker, and we were just all blown away. This was just something unexpected. We were all very jaded about the election, and we knew that libertarian politics were never going to take off because it's just a contradiction in itself, right? Libertarian politics is kind of weird, right? But we found Bitcoin, we fell in love with it, and we've been running with it in the free market since. And that's where I found out about Bitcoin. I was blessed to be around this amazing group of people, and that's how I came to know Bitcoin. And
that's great. It's interesting. You actually knew about it before me, I think. Or no, you did say 2012?
Yeah, 2012. I think.
Okay, I found out in 2011. Right? So yeah.
Yeah, you were already
so around the same
about
time.
it. That's the thing, that you were already talking about it, and I think that's how I discovered you, because you were already talking about it, and it was through the research that we discovered you, and Jeffrey Tucker was one of the first ones as well.
Yeah, I remember Jeffrey Tucker being in very early as well. I remember him being at the North American Bitcoin Conference in 2013. And it was a fairly small conference. I think if I had to guess, about 300, 400, maybe 500 people. Of course, 2 years ago during the bull market, it had 4,000 people. So it changed a lot. But I remember Jeffrey Tucker being there. And that's interesting that you used to hang around with Ross Ulbricht of the Silk Road. I actually never met him that I remember. So you've been very involved in this space. You know so many people. You're so involved. For a person like me, like a lot of people will say, "Oh, you're the Dollar Vigilante. You've been in crypto since 2011. You must know everything about crypto." It's like no one knows everything about crypto. This is like such a massive space with so many things going on. But I think some people just assume like I know everyone and I know every technical detail about every crypto. It's like no, man. Like that's crazy. That's too much to know. Plus, I'm also doing all kinds of things. Crypto isn't the only thing I do. Of course, with the Dollar Vigilante, we do many different things. I'm running a Narcopoco, all kinds of stuff. But you're a lot more focused just on crypto. So you've been in and you've known people since pretty much close to day one. You've met everyone. A lot of the main people in crypto are good friends of yours. You brought up Daniel Krawitz, and a lot of these people actually were at a Narcopoco last year, CryptoPoco. So it's great to have your depth of knowledge. And we should mention, too, that you wanted to bring in a real trader into the Crypto Vigilante. I don't think trading is your forte, as far as I understand.
I'm more on the privacy side, yes. I'm more on the privacy side, and yeah. I personally, so there's two approaches, Jeff, right? There's people that hold at higher esteem their privacy, and other people will decide to forego their privacy so that they can arbitrage on KYC AML exchanges, right? So it's up to you as an individual. We're going to show you both paths, and it's going to be up to you as an individual to choose what path or what aspects you take from one aspect or the other, but to make it personalized for you yourself, right?
Yeah, absolutely. A lot of people are very into privacy. That's really where, of course, crypto came from. It came from the cypherpunks, and they were all into privacy, PGP, and all those sort of things. And but then there's a lot of people who are less into that, and they just want to make money in crypto, and that's cool too. And so we're trying to help them on. And we've got a number of reports. You, as I was about to mention, you decided to bring in a person who's incredibly private. He's so private that I don't know if I've ever met him. I don't know his full name. You call him Mr. X. I've heard of him. People seem to know who he is, like the people you know. He's very well known as one of the best traders in the market. And I know you wanted to bring him in because to handle more of the trading sort of aspect, the day-to-day looking at charts, technical analysis, whereas you're more looking at fundamentals and the people and what the crypto's trying to do and things like that. And I should point out there's you and Mr. X actually put together 4 reports, which are all great. One's called the Crypto Cleaning Tutorial, where you learn how to remove illegal smudges from your coins. So this is a topic that's becoming more and more important. We're seeing some governments saying, "Oh, we found these guys stole from somebody, and they stole this Bitcoin, so therefore we want to make this Bitcoin not tradable," and different markets and stuff like that are either adhering or not adhering to that. But this is a way to actually make it so you can clean your crypto, so you don't run into problems with things like that. There's another report called the Vigilante Crypto Asset Evaluation Secrets, learning how to identify which coins are profit rockets versus which ones are garbage, which is very good. And I should mention as well that we've already launched the Crypto Vigilante, but the first recommendation from the Crypto Vigilante won't be coming out until May 27th, probably at 11:59 of that evening, because that's when that'll be the definite drop dead date. After that date, no one can sign up anymore. It might be earlier, as I said, so we'll be doing that. Another great report you did was Becoming Invisible, Anonymous Exchange Tutorial. This is a big issue for a lot of people, especially Americans, on how to actually buy crypto without having to go through all the KYC and all that kind of stuff. It's tricky kind of stuff, but you put together a report. You also put together the Crypto Vigilante Manifesto, which is the tagline is learn how to start making wise crypto investments and trades by yourself. So all four of those are available with a subscription to the Crypto Vigilante. So right off the bat, four amazing reports. And then we're going to, of course, get into recommendations and things like that. And maybe you can comment a little bit about Mr. X, about his trading past, because you know him personally. You have worked with him for quite a while, if I understand correctly. And you told me that you wanted this guy involved with the Crypto Vigilante because he's such a good trader. So maybe just comment a little bit about him.
Well, he's a genius. He really is. He's a genius. There are many people out there in the space that are good at what they do, and he's great at what he does. He's found that sweet spot, right, of being able to be anonymous, and he has his OPSEC on point, while at the same time being an amazing trader. So it's incredible to have someone like that on the team. Yeah, I can't think of anyone else like him on the market, to be honest. I just, there is no one else like him. He's unique. He's one of a kind, and he's really a blessing to have. And he's someone that's first and foremost an agorist, right? He is an activist, and everything that he does is for that sake. He has the same vision that we have. He understands the importance of this for all of humanity. He understands that we can't mess up with this. We know that the future of humanity is really what's at stake here, that we either end up with a horrible prison planet with a complete surveillance state where every action is tracked, predicted, in a nightmare scenario, or if we do things right, we can end up with more freedom, right? And so he's just passionate about this. He's just incredible. It's just incredible to be working with someone like that, that has the same vision and that complements all of the gifts that we have at the Dollar Vigilante and at the Crypto Vigilante, right? So we have you doing the macro perspective, which is awesome because we don't have time to focus on the happenings of the world, and we have Ed, who's a brilliant Austrian economist, and so this is. This is a great team. I'm very, very blessed to be here. But yeah, it's the idea first and foremost that investing is part of our activism, right? This is not just to get wealthy. This is about making a positive impact in the world, and by doing so, helping people not just gain financial freedom, but also personal, privacy, security. At a time where there's 5G going everywhere, where you're walking down any major metropolis and your phone is pinging to signals everywhere in every street corner, and you're being completely tracked in a grid. I mean, we literally are in a police state, and we have to do something about this, right? Like, And I think one thing that I enjoy about Mr. X is the fact that he holds the same understanding as me, is that we don't want to work for anything that is statist or anything that is status driven. We just, I can't see myself doing that. He can't see himself doing that. So we're very excited, not just for crypto in itself, but for the community that you have gathered around yourself, Jeff, and to be able to come in and fortify and help everyone out, because it's, we're going to be taking baby steps at the beginning in learning how to be secure and all that. But a year from now, our goal and our vision is for the community, for the Dollar Vigilante and the Crypto Vigilante to be a powerhouse worldwide of intelligent investors and a community of investors that are constantly just ahead of the game, just at the next level constantly. And so that's our vision. We know that we are offering something in the market that others are not, because of our anarchist perspective, right? Because we are, very simply speaking, we are comfortable with the fact that we foresee a future of human beings being completely free, and we're comfortable with that. A statist actor would not be able to even fathom the idea of living in a world of complete freedom. But for us, that's what we revel in, and that's what we desire, and that's what we want, because we fundamentally think and we know that human beings are good, right? So yeah, that's a little spiel there, but that's really where we're purpose driven. And that is something beautiful to be able to say, right? That you're doing something that is not just for yourself, but for everyone around you. And thank you, Jeff, for providing everyone at the whole community within Bitcoin, within Dollar Vigilante and Crypto Vigilante, for stepping up and doing this for all of us, Jeff, because now we have a community where we can actually share ideas and grow,
Yeah, totally. Of course, at the Dollar Vigilante, our tagline is surviving and prospering during and after the dollar collapse. But I also am very upfront at the beginning saying I'm an anarcho-capitalist, libertarian, freedom fighter against mankind's two biggest enemies, the state and the central bank. And with Crypto Vigilante, I think it's a lot more of just trying to help crypto become what we want it to be, what we need it to be, which is a true money that's used across the world that can't be tracked by governments, can't be taxed by governments, can't be seized by governments and things like that. And so that's a big part of what we're trying to do at the Crypto Vigilante. So I know a lot of people have tuned in. They want to hear your thoughts on the state of crypto right now. And of course, given your background, you've been in this for a while. So I was just saying the other day, Rafael, that I'm shocked how fast this has all happened. If you would have asked me when we were back in 2014 or 2013, do you think in 5 or 6 years we'd be at a state where the New York Stock Exchange would be opening a crypto exchange, where Starbucks, Whole Foods, Nordstrom would be accepting Bitcoin, where I think it's Fidelity has crypto trading. I think another one has crypto trading, another major broker, where the G20, the IMF, the Congress are all panicking about crypto potentially taking away the value, the power from the dollar. If someone would have asked me that, and also if you would have said, do you think Bitcoin would be at $20,000 within 5 years, and you mentioned everything else, I'd say, I doubt it. Like that's, 5 years, that's not very long. That'd be amazing if it did, but I can't see how that could possibly happen. And truthfully, I didn't. And even up until about 2017, when that all started to take off, I was like, whoa, this is happening a little faster than I thought. I thought it was going to take at least a couple more years. So give us your perspective on where we're at today. From your perspective, it's starting at the beginning. Are you also surprised at how this has really taken off?
Yeah, it is surprising. What you have to understand is that we are initially, first and foremost, we're hacking human self-preservation, right? The desire amongst all of us is to live and to live freely. And as human beings, we want to live with purpose and with meaning in our life. And as long as we are enslaved financially or in any way, we're not going to be able to make free choices, right? A slave can't make free choices because he's in bondage, right? So the more free you are as an individual, the more you're able to move, the more choices are offered to you in life, right? Now, crypto offers you even more choices. It augments your capacity as a human being to reach out and enter into voluntary exchange with anyone in the world at any time, right? So this is something that is unforeseen. This is something that, if you look at it from that perspective, it makes total sense, and it can't be stopped unless very, very tyrannical initiatives are taken, right? So we have to be aware of the fact that these power-hungry people are not going to let go that easy, and that they're right now starting to realize what's happening. But fundamentally, humanity is intrinsically oriented towards being free. And so once you hack that human drive to self-preserve and to seek greater freedom and prosperity and just self-preservation, that in itself is all crypto needs to expand. So yeah, it is crazy how fast everything's moving. And because it is moving so fast, we find the market responding in kind by giving us various versions of Bitcoin now that are calibrating in the market, competing to how to penetrate the market better, right? And we have thousands of altcoins also competing, right? With their own network of investors, with their own technologies. So this is just the beginning, Jeff. This is just the beginning. And now your question was on, pardon me, if you can ask again, on the state of crypto at the moment, correct?
Well, just from your perspective, because I totally honestly could not have imagined we'd be at this point now 5 or 6 years ago. It happened way faster than I thought. And because back in 2013, when we first met, there was just a few of us who knew about Bitcoin. It was like a very small crowd. You mentioned some of the main people: Jeffrey Tucker, Ross Ulbricht, you, me, of course, Trace Mayer told me about Bitcoin. Roger Ver was around. We pretty much knew. We were just a gang of people who all knew each other. Charlie Schramm, a few others. And to go from that to a point where we have, I don't even know how big this market is at this point, how many people are working in the entire crypto space, and how it's affecting the world. Just from your perspective, how shocking has this been to you so far? And you brought up a great point as well. I should mention that as much as this has progressed massively, we're still just at the very, very beginning. If you ask your average person on the street, anywhere in the world, it doesn't matter, anywhere in the world, and you go, hey, you know much about Bitcoin? They'll go, I've heard the name. And there might be every now and then a guy will go, I thought about buying it once or something like that. But it's still on a grand scale. As far as the public is concerned, still very, very, we're just getting started. That's one of the interesting things. I've been at the start of numerous sort of paradigm shifts. One of them was the internet. I was on computers in 1980 when I was 10 years old, 11 years old. Apple II Plus computer, and I was waiting for the internet to come out, and it finally came out in 1993. That's when I found out about it, and I've seen how that progressed from just a couple of us kids who call ourselves hackers back in the 80s, going to little costume parties and stuff, meetups with other people, to the internet starting. Everyone's saying the internet's a scam or is a joke or it'll never catch on, to where we are today with the internet, which I think no one can deny has become a massive part of almost everyone's day-to-day lives, unless you live in the woods and you don't have power. But if you don't, you're pretty much, the internet is affecting you in one way or another. So I saw that happen, and now I'm seeing it again with the crypto. So just a bit more perspective from you on just how quickly this is all starting to ramp up.
Yeah, it's someone like you or someone like Michael Turpin really appreciates, because you guys have been through other technology waves, right? So at the Inside Bitcoin conference in Berlin around 2013, that's where I met Matthew Mellon, who passed away last year, unfortunately. And we were in a room of 20 people. And Michael Turpin, one of the leaders of the Bit Angels network at the time, when I used to work with them, sat me down and he told me, he's like, Raf, look, the guy that put together this event is the guy that put together the first internet conferences, right? When the internet first came out. And when the internet first came out, it was it was a room of 20 people, just like this. And you had Steve Jobs, you had Bill Gates, you had all the guys of the early internet there, right? And he's like, this is exactly the same thing we're seeing all over again, right? But Jeff, the beautiful thing about Bitcoin and about crypto is that everyone in the world can participate. And this is a paradigm shift that changes everything. Everyone, Jeff, hates their bank. Everyone hates their bank. There's no one that I know that doesn't hate their bank. And the smartest of people that I've ever met don't even have a bank account under their name. For sure they don't, right? So everyone hates their bank. Even bankers. I've met bankers that have literally told me, Raf, I've never had a bank account under my name. Banks are horrible. Everyone knows deep down inside that banks are there to enslave you, that banks are not there to help you, right? But that's the only choice we've ever had as a society. So now that we have crypto, I think we're in for, I honestly, Jeff, I don't think we've even started, to be quite honest. And if you were to ask me about the state of Bitcoin, my perspective on Bitcoin has grown and evolved over the years. And when I look at Bitcoin, I don't personally on a personal level, I don't see Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin SV, and Bitcoin Core BTC. I don't see them as separate. I personally see them as a network of miners that are monetizing on all three chains. And these miners are not really that loyal to one single chain, right? But it's the market's way of calibrating what is best for itself. And I easily can see a future where all the miners of Bitcoin, the SHA-256 miners, migrate to one chain out of the three and orphan the other ones. But that's the beauty of this, Jeff, is that we have a system that will never and can't be destroyed unless we literally enter into like a world war scenario, which I wouldn't put it past these people to actually throw all of humanity into another world war to stop what we're doing, right? Which is very feasible for that to happen, but that's really up to us if we're going to allow something like that to happen. But overall, in the way that things are moving, we definitely are sparking something in human beings throughout the world that once they realize what this is, everything changes for them. And I think it was Gary North who talked about anarchy being more of an attitude than a philosophy, that it comes down to people saying, I have enough, right? And when you have enough, that attitude is what starts a revolution, what starts an evolution. And people have had enough of the banking system. People are sick of it. Everyone hates it.
And they don't even understand it. If they fully understood it, they'd really hate it. The inflation of the central banks, most people don't even know how that's robbing them. They see sort of like the symptoms of it. They see that they don't have much money. They see that they're being charged all kinds of fees. They see that if they want to send a wire transfer on Friday at 5 o'clock, they've got to wait all weekend and wait till Monday to do it. And then if it goes outside of the country, they're going to get a phone call. And what are you doing with this money? Where did you get this money? All that kind of stuff. So I think anyone who truly understands how the banking system works and understands crypto, like it's just obvious that crypto is so much better. And it is pretty funny to see people like Peter Schiff, who still sticks to his guns. I just saw him post just the other day about how everyone's going to lose all their money in Bitcoin. It's like, you can't possibly be this stupid. Like, do you not realize what's happening here? Like, this is a massive paradigm shift in money and banking, and he thinks it's Beanie Babies, and it's 2019. Like I don't know. Maybe he's got like some sort of head injury or something. Like, how could you possibly in 2019 not know? If at least like he must have at least looked into it somewhat. He's been in debates on it. Like, how is he still thinking that this is going to zero because it's a scam or a Ponzi scheme or a fraud or whatever he says it is? It's just unbelievable. But then again, that is where the opportunities lie, is that a lot of people still think that. I still see that every now and then all over the place. There was another fund manager on CNBC who came out just a couple of weeks ago, and they're all going to zero. And his reasoning was that there's thousands of cryptocurrencies, so therefore it's obvious that they're worthless. It's like that makes no sense. These people just a lot of them went to colleges and universities, so it's understandable that they're this stupid because they literally learn nothing about economics in those schools.
100%, Jeff. I completely agree with you. 100%. Faculties throughout the world, all they teach you in business school or economics or finance, the number one thing that they teach you over and over and over again is compliance, obedience. They literally give you a mental knee pads, mental knee pads, so that by the time you get out of your 4 years of indoctrination, or if you're dumb enough to go for 6 or 8, you have knee pads. You're constantly kneeling and asking for permission, and you're constantly in bondage. You're in bondage, and and psychologically, these people have no other alternative but to seek to put others in bondage, because if they were to wake up and become Austrian or libertarian, they'll realize that all of their education was a sunk cost. and they would have to admit to themselves that they've been literally part of humanity's enslavement on a financial level, right? So it's definitely, it's ridiculous, Jeff, that when it comes to business and economics and finance, some of the most quote unquote educated people are really the most lost. And right now, Mr. X, before talking to you, he was telling me how JP Morgan analysts at this moment right now, they're starting to freak out because they're trying to persuade people not to buy crypto because they're freaking out and they don't understand it. It just doesn't fit within their paradigm that something that allows for voluntary human exchange, something so simple, Jeff, as human action, which is the foundation of Austrian economics, right? Human action, for it to be conducted freely without a third party. That is just such a mind blown for them, right? So just think of the mental straitjacket that the majority of the world is coming from, right? And we are propositioning something completely different, which is in line with human nature. So yes, I think that you're 100% right. This is just the beginning. It's gonna blow up, Jeff. I really think this is gonna blow up, and I actually, the more they persecute it and the more they go after it, the stronger it will become.
Yeah, we saw that after the con man in Congress came out 2 weeks ago and said they are thinking about banning crypto. That was the very day that crypto took off. Bitcoin's around 3,000, less than 4,000. It went to like 8,000 within a few days right after they said they're going to ban it. Because if they say they're going to ban something, I know this from other people like Luis Fernando Misas, who we work with at the Dollar Vigilante. He sells Kratom, and he told me that when the Congress was thinking about banning Kratom, he had the most sales ever that day because people go, oh crap, I better get some before it's too late, and it gets a lot harder to get. And so yeah, they can't really stop you. You kind of started all this with you can't stop people's desire for freedom, and we've seen this throughout human history. This is just an ongoing story. Unfortunately, people keep getting fooled and they keep falling for things like statism and government and communism and socialism and even fascism to an extent, and they keep repeating the same errors over and over. But you also see people escaping from things like statism and communism over and over because the drive for human freedom is so big. And really, crypto is allowing for the first time the ability for people across the world to not only have a free money that is not controlled by anyone else, but to also be their own bank, which I think a lot of people still don't fully understand how powerful that is and how important that is, that people can actually, for the first time, store any amount of value in their own head. This is massive. This is like a huge change in our abilities. And I'll say, Rafael, I say this often, that I still have to deal with the banking system all the time. We accept things like PayPal still. I wish we didn't, but like a lot of people still use that stuff, and things like credit cards and all that. And about once a week, I get so frustrated with the whole system. They're always freezing accounts. They're always calling with questions. And if it wasn't for cryptocurrencies, I don't know if, like, I might kill myself. Like, it's that bad. Like, if I had no other option and I had to just use this banking system and this fiat currency system, and there was no other option, like, I'd almost give up on life. Like, there'd be like no hope as far as I was concerned. But with crypto, there's massive hope, and not only that, but I think people are really starting to get it, and I think we're really just at the beginning of that, as you pointed out. So we don't have too much time left, Rafael. So I want to go into where things are currently at, and some of your thinking on what are some of the best cryptos to get into. Now, I know you're not going to tell us all the ones that you're going to be featuring in the Crypto Vigilante over the next few months, and the first one on May 27th. Because obviously people pay us for that information, but you can give us some generalized information. Like, just tell us in general. I think you did already a little bit on Bitcoin with the Bitcoin Cash forks and all that. You kind of see that them all as sort of one Bitcoin, and that's still the same way that I look at it. I'm less bullish on SV than you are. You're probably the most bullish SV person I know, and I should point this out too, that not all of us at Crypto Vigilante agree with each other 100% on everything. In fact, I think Mr. X is quite anti-Bitcoin Cash. You're super pro-Bitcoin Cash. I'm somewhere in the middle. I'm gonna when I buy one Bitcoin, I'm gonna also buy one Bitcoin Cash, maybe sometimes Bitcoin SV, because I don't know which one's going to take off. But then there's also some other currencies, and I know one that you're really big into is Monero.
Oh yeah, definitely. So at the Crypto Vigilante, right now in the market as it stands, Monero is our baby. Monero takes us there right away. And if you look at the way that the incentive structure is laid out around Monero, it's around the individual, right? It's looking out for the individual first and foremost, right? The individual is the privacy of the individual is above anything else. And the beautiful thing that happens is that the moment that you emphasize that, the monetary theory falls into place, right? Because you end up with a coin that is truly fungible, where you don't have to go through imagine holding Bitcoin and going to a grocery store in the future, and someone tells you at the cashier, "Hey, I'm sorry, I can't receive those Bitcoin that you sent me. I can't receive them because some of those Bitcoin somewhere in its transaction history years ago were part of the Silk Road or something." I mean, that would be ridiculous, right? So fungibility is an aspect of money that needs to exist and needs to be honored. And so Monero is by far the coin that makes sure that every unit of account within Monero, every XRM, is equally as valuable as every other XRM. And in that regard, you don't have the notion of tainted coins, which was what I just explained with the example of the cashier not accepting tainted Bitcoin, right? So, yeah, Monero is definitely our favorite coin. And we are now. You can look at the value of a cryptocurrency from other perspectives, right? For instance, from the perspective of like what's best for the market, for a free market, or for the market in general, right? Taking into account all market actors, including the government, right? Now that's another conversation, and when you get into that conversation, then you have to really, what you're talking about is, okay, the government will allow for a surveillance coin, right? Now, will that surveillance coin be something controlled by a few, or will it be completely decentralized? Or the third option would be, will this be a surveillance coin that is governed by a complete competitive meritocracy across the world, right? That is completely Byzantine fault tolerant, right? So those are kind of the conversations we have at the Crypto Vigilante. And yes, the beautiful thing is that all of us don't agree. We are not an echo chamber. And we encourage people not to be part of echo chambers, because echo chambers keep you from cooperating with people that you can learn a lot from. And so Yeah, but by far, Monero is right now the coin that we champion the most because of its qualities and because of what it offers to the individual in the market.
Yeah, I've become a lot more of a Monero fan over the last year, especially as we talk a lot amongst ourselves, obviously, and you've taught me a lot about Monero and hearing about how it's all set up and the people involved. It's like, okay, this looks really good. So for people out there, there's a free tip for you. If you don't own any Monero, you should definitely think about it. And we could, it's so interesting. Monero actually has about the same money supply in terms of the amount of coins as Bitcoin. It's around 17 million right now, which is around what Bitcoin is. And really, if you look at how things are going, Monero could become what Bitcoin is today in the next couple of years. And it's currently trading around $80. So the upside there is about, what is that, 80 to 8,000 is about what it would be if that happens. Now, of course, there's no guarantee of that and that sort of thing. And we're going to be featuring a number of smaller coins even at the Crypto Vigilante. We've had an incredible track record. Of course, I've picked Bitcoin at $3 in 2011. I knew we brought up that Vitalik launched Ethereum at the North American Bitcoin Conference 2013. I was hanging out with those guys in Toronto at the Decentral in like 2012, 2011 maybe, when it was just like a tiny idea in their heads. And so we recommended Ethereum at $2 at the Dollar Vigilante. And I expect the Crypto Vigilante will have many gainers that are very similar in size. So, the total cost of the Crypto Vigilante, and it also includes the Dollar Vigilante subscription, is about $600 per year, about $50 per month. And if you look at the amount of potential gains that could be made here, it's, unless you're dead broke, I think it makes a lot of sense to at least check it out. So if you want to sign up to it, there's only going to be up for a couple of days. We might take it down at any minute, so literally don't wait. dollarvigilante.com/launch, and we'll be launching the very first pick in May 27th at about midnight of that evening, and going from there. So it's going to be some great times. Maybe one sort of final question, Rafael. Where do you see things going from here? We've kind of had the bear market. In my opinion, that bear market's over. I don't know in your opinion if it's over or not. From Bitcoin 20,000 down to about 3,500, which is about where Ed Bugos, our senior analyst at the Dollar Vigilante, said it was going to go. Now we're at around 8,000. Do you think the bear market's totally over? Are we back into a full bull market? Or are we going to still be in for some sort of choppy up and down trading for a while here?
I would say choppy up and down. And look, Jeff, we have to keep an eye, especially with Bitcoin. Remember that a year from now, almost exactly a year from now, we're going to have the halving, right? Where Bitcoin is going to decrease its block reward. All Bitcoin chains from 12.5 Bitcoins to 6.25 Bitcoins released to the miners every 10 minutes, right? So when that happens, Jeff, what's gonna, a lot of people, look, there's a lot of presumptions, especially coming from the BTC group, which, that's Mr. X is more partial to that understanding. And they think that by the coin going, by the block reward going and halving, once it halves, that the price of Bitcoin will rocket. Right? And more likely it will. But keep in mind that this will include a lot of financial pressure for all chains. At this moment, all three chains are competing in attempting to be the best reservoir to contain and to be able to be the throughput within their own given network of this financial and economic pressure that is to come, right? We're also going to be keeping in mind the economic incentives of miners and of all of the actors around all the three coins of Bitcoin. So this year is a year where all these three coins are building massively. At the Magical Crypto Friends Conference that just occurred, the BTC community unveiled many amazing things that are happening, right? But we still have to be critical because no matter what BTC, BSV, or BCH are doing, they are going to start being tested a year from now. That's when those chains are really going to start being under fire. And let me explain why really quick. The reason why is because for the most part, every one of these chains are guarded by the same group of miners, right? And these miners move from one chain to another between all three, right? For the vast majority of the life of Bitcoin, which includes the life of all three chains, miners have been dependent on the block reward itself as the main means to monetize, right? Now, we've always thought about there being a future in which the block reward was not the main emphasis, the main means by which miners would monetize, but rather we always talked about in the past about a golden age of mining, in which miners would be profiting more from the transaction fees than by the mining reward, the block reward. Now, keep in mind that the transaction fees between BTC is different than the transaction fees in BSV and BCH. The transaction fees in BTC are replaced by fees, right? Because of their mempool because of their 1 megabyte block limit every 10 minutes. If the mempool is filled up, the replaced by fee it's as if there's an auction happening within BTC that he who pays the highest transaction fees gets added to the next block, right? That's the fee structure for miners in BTC. In BSV and BCH, that fee structure doesn't exist. It's a fee structure that runs parallel with the transaction volume itself, right? So what fee structure amongst these two main ones will be the one that will be most profitable for the miners? We don't know yet. We can speculate. For example, Mr. X has the perspective that Bitcoin BTC's transaction fee replaced by fee method is what will be sufficient for miners to be profitable and most profitable in the future. The other two chains have a different approach, and which is the one I just explained, right? That the moment that transaction comes into the mempool is picked up, and the transaction volume is the same as the transaction fee volume, right? So there is no auctioning happening within BSV and BCH, right? We won't know exactly what will happen until the market itself shows us which one of these chains has the most resilience under the oncoming economic pressure, right? And economic pressure can come from many different perspectives, right? Just remember that for those that see the value for miners in mining any of the three chains coming from the price of Bitcoin and the price of the trading price of Bitcoin, remember that price is very volatile, right? So it is in the transaction fees where we see a future of resilience in all of these three chains. So for this next year, I would advise people to just really pay attention to what's happening, because we are not going to be able to really see what the effects are of everything that's being worked on till May 2020. May 21st, 2020 is the next halving. And that's when the rubber meets the road, right? That's when we really where all these chains are really going to be strained, and where the miners are going to really start to have to make decisions based on economic pressure, right? Something that maybe has not been seen as much and as blatantly in the past. We're going to start seeing it a year from now. So this year right now, it's a year to speculate, but I think we're really going to, a year from now is when we're really going to start seeing the resilience of the Bitcoin chains, right? Of all three versions.
Yeah, very interesting. There's so many things going on. And for people out there, if you don't know about a lot of this stuff, of course, you should definitely sign up to the Crypto Vigilante. This is where we talk about all this stuff all the time. There's also a private FBI group page, a Facebook page for subscribers. I know, Rafael, it's really important to you. You want to launch a one on, I think, what's the thing that you just got me onto?
Yeah, let's not mention it right now, Jeff. Let's not mention it right now. Let's not mention it right now.
Very secure servers.
We have a home for everyone waiting. So let's move away from Facebook, yes.
Yeah, so we launched the Facebook one, but I know that Mr. X and Rafael really want a really secure sort of location. They're going to be launching that soon too. And as I mentioned, we might stop sign-ups any moment now for the Crypto Vigilante. So if you want in, make sure you go to dollarvigilante.com/launch. I also want to mention that there is a Crypto Vigilante YouTube channel which just launched. There's only one video on it right now. It's actually Rafael interviewing Bitcoin Cash developer Chris Passia, and it's about an hour and a half. So if you're into crypto stuff, definitely make sure you subscribe to the Crypto Vigilante YouTube channel. As you know, here at the Dollar Vigilante, we don't get too technical on the cryptos very often. We're a bit more big picture. So if you're into technical stuff with cryptos, definitely make sure we'll have a link down below to the YouTube channel for Crypto Vigilante. And I know you got to run, I got to run, Rafael. So thanks for coming on, and looking forward to really seeing the launch of Crypto Vigilante here, and looking forward to many long years of being involved in the space with you.
Thank you. Likewise, Jeff. A pleasure. Pleasure's all mine, and thank you for having me.
Cool, yeah. And if you like this video, please like, subscribe, share down below. And that's it for the Dollar Vigilante, helping you to survive and prosper during and after the dollar collapse.
His armpits dripped like a wet sponge. Heart racing. Hard to breathe. Every second, watching the price of Bitcoin plummet made his jaw clench tighter. Should he hodl? Sell? Double down and buy more? And then, when Bitcoin shot up, his uncertainty caused him to hesitate again, costing him thousands in lost profits. In fact, whether cryptocurrencies were rising or falling, he didn't know which way to play. But you don't have to lose like that guy, wishing he could trade like a whale, but knowing he'll always be a sardine. Unless he gets schooled on how to trade crypto like a pro. Jeff Berwick was the first financial analyst to recommend Bitcoin at $3 in 2011. If you had bought $1,000 worth, you would have made almost $6.6 million by 2017, enough money to set you up for life. Then he recommended Ethereum at $2 in 2016. If you listened, $1,000 would have turned into a cool $1,116,895. That's enough for a second home, a trip around the world, and a brand new car, with a few $100,000 left over for whatever you want. But that's not all. Jeff also nailed the timing on Dash and called EOS an early winner at only 50 cents, making his subscribers a fortune. But Jeff will be the first to tell you, the winning picks didn't all come from him. They were precise targets from his top secret group of advisors, a group he's held a vice-like grip on. But for the first time, he's sharing his advisors with a small group of smart investors. Together, these cryptocurrency geniuses have created wins of 4,224%, 124,900%, even 317,900%. But he's only opening up this golden ticket for the next few days, and once the door closes, we don't know when or if it'll open again. Even if it does, you'll have missed out on massive potential gains, and you can be sure it'll be at a higher investment. Plus, you'll have lost out on the priceless information you need to keep your transactions 100% safe, so you don't end up in prison or much worse for someone else's mistake. The time to act is now. If you want to stay safe and make crypto investments with 99% greater certainty than everybody else in the crypto Wild West, visit dollarvigilante.com/advisors right now to learn more.